I've paid almost $3,500 just in fees to American Express over the years because they've been such a powerful part of my credit card setup. With the American Express Green Card and Business Gold from last year, and my Amex Platinum card from almost 6 years ago. But that's changing here in this video because not only am I switching up my American Express strategy, I'll be going through canceling one of these cards later in this video. That said, first off, why do these cards have a spot in my wallet in the first place? And why am I okay paying so much in annual fees just to hold them? Let's start off with the American Express Green Card, which some may say is a step below the Amex Gold Card, and I would agree. However, because you no longer qualify for the welcome bonus on the Amex Gold Card if you have had the Platinum card, which was the case for me, it wasn't worth it to go for the gold. In its place though is the American Express Green Card from last year when there was an all-time high welcome offer of 60,000 points after just $3,000 of spend in 6 months, on top of up to 20% back up to $200 for statement credit when spending in travel and transit. Given it was an all-time high offer at that time, I don't qualify for the gold, and at that time I thought I needed the credits on the card. I thought, hey, it was a great choice. Now, why did this card appeal to me in the first place? Well, American Express points are second only to Chase in my opinion, given they have really strong transfer partners like Aeroplan, which I've used a ton over the last couple years, Flying Blue, KrisFlyer, and even ANA, which I hope to go on one of their round-the-world trips someday. And a major injection of 60,000 points is a big one. Then there's the multipliers, 3 times on travel, transit, and dining. I already have a dining card with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, giving me 3 times points on dining, and given I value Chase points slightly more, till this day it's still my main dining card. That said, the 3 times on travel and transit was key because across all of my other cards, I don't have such a high multiplier on those categories. Even cards like my Sapphire Preferred and Venture X will only give me 2 times points or miles in those categories. And so till this day, the Amex Green Card is still my preferred card when paying for travel and transit. Speaking of travel though, the other reason I initially got this card was because of its $100 Lounge Buddy credit. At the time, I was about to go on a trip with a pretty big group, 5 to 6 people, and wasn't sure if my Amex Platinum and Venture X were enough to get the whole group into certain lounges. And if it wasn't, I could dip into the credit on this card to pay for some access to get the whole group in. Unfortunately, and this is getting into the downsides of the cards, I never got to use that credit. Because A, I realized you can use both passes on the Venture X and American Express Platinum cards at the same time to get a bigger group into lounges like the Plaza Premium in Vancouver. And B, because these were mostly redemption flights in business class, they typically already included lounge access, meaning I didn't need these passes on the cards. And then I guess there's also C, I didn't really know anyone who needed special lounge access where I could have bought it for them, so it was no use there too. So that was one thing about the card I thought I might have used to try and offset that $150 in annual fees, but that wasn't the case. To add on top of that, the $189 clear credit is pretty much useless to me because I already have it on my Amex Platinum card, so it's just a duplicate. However, if this is pretty much your only travel card and you can use one or both of these credits, the card might be perfect for you. Alright, next we have the American Express Business Gold Card, one I got not too long ago when there was an elevated offer of 130,000 points after $10,000 of spend in the first 3 months. And right before the increase of the annual fee from $295 to the current $375. Now, I'd be lying if I said that the welcome bonus wasn't a major factor in why I was attracted to this card in the first place, because it's pretty much the highest points offer I've had on any one of my cards. But surprisingly, the card's benefits work well for me too. I don't use the $155 for Walmart Plus at all, but I have been able to use that $20 per month towards FedEx, office supply stores, or Grubhub, the latter of which I try to do pickup so I don't have to pay those extra fees. $20 a month over 12 months is $240 in value, trying to offset the $295 I'm paying in annual fees, giving me an effective $55. Next year, when I have to pay the higher annual fee though, is a different question, as the $240 will be cutting into the newer $375 in annual fees, which will cost me an effective $135 for this card, a steep increase. On the other hand, spending on this card is pretty solid too. giving me 4 times points in my top 2 categories across some pretty useful and broad ones, like advertising, electronic stores, restaurants, gas stations, transit, and monthly wireless bills. Buy a $2,000 laptop, get 8,000 points back, at 2 cents per point, which is what I value my MR points at. That's $160 just like that. Either way though, this card is not a 100% for sure keeper card every year, so it may also be on the chopping block. Alright, next up we have a card that needs no introduction given it's been in my wallet for almost 6 years now, and that's the American Express Platinum card. With a welcome bonus now going as high as 150 or even 175,000 points after 8,000 are spent in 3 months, if you want points, this is the card to get, as it's probably one of the highest welcome bonus cards out there. Yes, a lot of people might say, hey, you're paying $695 for this card every year. But if you look at the welcome bonus, the value there more than offsets that cost. And at the very least, you can try it out for a year and then reevaluate if you still want the card. I mean, using points earning cards like these is exactly how I was able to fly business class for myself, my partner, and my family over to several destinations in Asia over the last couple of years, which would have costed tens of thousands of dollars. But even those welcome bonus points aside, I've still been able to come out positive purely just using the credits on the card every single year. Specifically, the $200 hotel credit, which I'm actually using later this year, booking the Shangri-La on my upcoming Toronto stay, along with being used on Vegas trips or Asia trips in the past couple years. The $200 Uber cash gone pretty quickly with just one ride or one meal. The $200 airline fee credit, which I typically use towards premium select seats on Delta or premium class seats on Alaska, especially on those flights over to New York City. $50 every half towards Saks Fifth Avenue, which I typically use towards gifts during holiday seasons. And the $189 clear credit I mentioned last year, totaling $889 every single year, which is more than the $695 in annual fees. And this year, because of the Olympics, I'll probably have a subscription to Peacock, which streams the Olympics, so I can dip into the $240 a year towards digital entertainment. The card also comes with a whole host of travel and shopping benefits, but my favorite by far is the return protection, giving me peace of mind when I shop online, because as a deal hunter, a lot of the best deals are final sale. But it's good knowing that within 90 days, if the retailer doesn't take this back, I could try and claim it with American Express and get my money back that way if the item qualifies, up to $300 per item and $1,000 per calendar year. I think it's one of the hidden gems that people don't talk about as much about this card. That and the pretty regular Amazon discounts you can get by using some of your MR points, going as high as 50% off. Now, that's not all without downsides though, because at this point, you might have already forgotten every single way I try to get value from this card. People call this card a coupon book because it has so many different ways you can get value from them, but you also need to use a fair number of them in order to break even or profit. Personally, this is my area of interest and I have been using this card for almost 6 years now, but yes, it can be mentally taxing. Like earlier this year when I wasn't sure how I was going to use the $200 hotel credit this year, and I would have hated to lose out on this $200 of free value on the card, leading to more stress or more time looking into this. Thankfully, we needed to make a trip out to Toronto, so I was able to use my credit for that trip. But I am starting to feel a bit of that mental load needed to manage this card, especially when I'm getting into the later stages of my credit card journey, where it's getting harder and harder to extract maximum value from all of these different unique cards. So that's a major downside I've been thinking about lately, as well as how I may want to change up and add to my American Express cards, since I'll be canceling one of these cards later in the video. So I'm thinking, if I want simplicity, how would I go about doing that? Well, the answer there is cashback. But unfortunately, American Express points don't cash out like Chase does at 1 cent per point. If you want to use your Amex points towards cashback, you're only getting 0.6 cents per point, which is a lot lower, unless you have the Charles Schwab version of the American Express Platinum card. With all of the same bells and whistles, along with its own welcome bonus, which you won't qualify if you had one of the platinum cards before, which, well, I do. The added benefit of this card is that you can cash out your points at 1.1 cents per point towards your Schwab accounts, which is almost pretty much like cashback. Although in October of 2024, this will be limited to just 1 million points a year, dropping to 0.8 cents per point after that. But fortunately or unfortunately, I will not be hitting those limits. The thing about this card though is that although it's a pretty solid way to get value from your points, it's not my style of value. Personally, I'm in this space to use credit cards and points to have these elevated travel experiences, not to save on every dollar spent. So although this may be a great card for some, it may not be the greatest for me at this moment. At some point, if I'm lucky to have a ton of spend or millions upon millions of points where I can't use them all, then maybe I will consider this route again. One card I do want to add to my arsenal soon though is one that will give me 2 times points on all of my business spend, up to $50,000 of spend per calendar year, which again, I probably won't hit. And that's with the American Express Blue Business Plus card. The card also has no annual fees, so I probably would keep it open forever. The issue here is the welcome bonus. With a baseline of 15,000 points after 3,000 of spend in the first 3 months, it's a bit low for my liking. That said, this card is known to have some wild elevated offers, like this one getting 50,000 points after 8,000 of spend in the first 3 months, or even 75,000 points after 15,000 of spend in the first 12 months, which really gets up there with the welcome bonuses of the Amex Green and Amex Gold cards, all without any annual fees. So if I'm able to get targeted for these offers, I'll probably go for them and focus all of that spend on the card in order to hit those limits, which over 12 months is not that bad. It'll also help me build up my Amex MR points to help me diversify from my heavy Chase focus with both of their personal and ink cards. So the Amex Blue Business Plus card is definitely one I'm keeping a sharp eye out for. But another one on my radar is the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant card. It's no surprise that I like to travel, to have these elevated experiences for myself and my close ones. And that includes staying at nice hotels. And with hotels, having status is a major factor in getting upgrades or extra perks. The issue is that unless you have those ultra high statuses like your Marriott Titanium or Hyatt Globalist, the middle ground of statuses is overly saturated here in the US because pretty much everyone can get these amazing credit cards, like the Amex Platinum card giving you Marriott and Hilton Gold, and the Hilton Aspire giving you their top-end Hilton Diamond status. So then why am I considering the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant card, which will only give you Marriott Platinum status, which has been saturated with people getting this card? Pay $650 a year and you get it. There's even several great perks to help you offset that cost, like the welcome bonus currently at 95,000 points if you hit the minimum spend, which is enough for a couple of nights and has gone as high as almost double that at 185,000 points after 6K of spend in 6 months. That's way more than what I paid last year staying at the AC Hotel Tokyo Ginza for just 159,000 points across 5 nights, which would have costed over $2,200. There's also the $300 dining credit spread $20 every month, which will be an easy use case for me because dining is one of my higher spend categories. But even on top of that, your free night award after every card renewal on nights of up to 85,000 points is at least worth $200 to $300 itself already, if not more depending on the property. Well, the reason I think it'll work for me is that if you've been following my travels over the last year or so, you'll notice that most, if not all of them, were to cities in Asia, a place where these statuses are not overly saturated, given pretty much only US-based cards will give you these amazing benefits. And so having Marriott Platinum card will give me higher chances at upgrades when I'm traveling to Asia and getting more value from them, given Marriott Platinum status has upgrades, including select suites. Now again, I'll keep a close eye on this for any elevated offers before jumping on it, but it's a major shift in my American Express strategy because up until now, all of my cards are flexible points earning cards. The Amex Green, the Business Gold, the Platinum card, and even my non-Amex cards like my Sapphire Preferred and Venture X and Freedom cards all give me flexible points where I can then transfer to certain partners where I want to use them. But there's only that many good cards out there that earn these flexible points, and the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant card will be a step in a new direction, given it's purely targeted at people who want to spend at Marriott properties, giving me 6 times points when spending at their properties, which would be the main use case, along with 3 times on restaurants, flights, and 2 times on everything else, which I probably would not use, and stick to my regular flexible cards when I'm having non-Marriott spend instead. But before that, a change needs to happen. And like I mentioned earlier, one of my Amex cards needs to go. Is it the Amex Green, the Business Gold, or the Platinum card? Well, one of these annual fees just posted a couple weeks ago, and because I'll still be within a 30-day grace period, I should be able to get my annual fee back. So it's time to cancel. And because American Express's customer service is amazing, you don't even have to call in to cancel. You can go through their live chat, see what they say, maybe some retention offers they maybe will give us, and then what ends up happening. Alright, so to cancel your card through live chat, go to the help page, scroll down, and usually there's a button here beside chat with us, but I literally just went through the flow, so there's a bubble down here, and let's go through exactly what was said and how we went through that conversation. First, I said, hi, I'm looking to cancel my American Express Green card. If I understand correctly, I should be within the grace period where I would still get my annual fee back. And then they connected me to the first agent, who then asked me what was my reason for cancellation. Honestly, I shared, hey, I'm unable to justify the annual fee given the value I'm able to get from the card, or unable to get. The clear credit is redundant. I have my Amex Platinum card, and I haven't found a use for the Lounge Buddy credit. To that, for some reason, it seems like this person couldn't help me with this case, so they transferred me to someone else named Marcus, who then asked me what was the benefit I liked the most on the green card. Well, because I haven't been able to use the credits, I said honestly, neither the clear credit or the Lounge Buddy credits were for me. To that, they again explained, hey, the reason I asked was because of these benefits on your card, which I clearly said I'm not able to find benefit from. Then they wanted to double check if I had any issues using those benefits. And then I shared just a bit more detail saying I thought I needed these credits, but because of my Amex Platinum card and other cards, I think that those suffice and I don't need this green card. Then they finally said, hey, we respect your decision, and then explained why there's an annual fee. Of course, there needs to be an annual fee for some of these cards because they're businesses after all. Then I said again, hey, I understand, this is just not the card for me, and I believe the annual fee just posted a couple of weeks ago to double check. Then they gave me a pretty much copy paste terms on these cancellations, just so I'm aware what I'm signing up for here. But before actually canceling the card, I wanted to double check that, hey, because I have other cards earning MR points and that these points are pulled together, I'm still safe with my points that I've already earned, and that because the annual fee just posted a couple weeks ago that it would be removed. I got a confirmation that, yep, your points are safe, which is what I expected, and that they actually didn't see the annual fee yet, which was interesting, but as long as I'm not charged here. Then after those confirmations, I said, got it, thank you, yes, please proceed to cancel my American Express green card. They canceled it, we said our thank yous, and simple as that. Pretty much told them straight up, hey, I want to cancel the card, how I can't find enough value from it, and the reasons why the credits don't work for me, a couple more follow-up questions, confirmation on canceling, and that's it. Now I have one fewer personal card in my credit card setup, which could be replaced by one of the cards mentioned earlier in this video. Alright, so I'm kind of surprised that they didn't offer any retention offers, but maybe I was just that straightforward already with canceling the card that maybe they just didn't bother. So that goes to show that with any credit card strategy, you gotta reevaluate them from time to time to make sure you're still working on things that take you closer to your goals. Mine is to continue earning points that are flexible enough to continue to fuel the travel experiences that I want, or get the perks and benefits to upgrade those experiences. That said, choosing the right cards and spending with them is one thing, but actually using your points and benefits in the real world is another thing. So to make sure you're avoiding some major mistakes that could cost you thousands of dollars or even leave you stranded, check out this video for my mistakes on one of my recent trips so you don't have to make them. See you over there.